Hey there, it's a quick video for everyone on when we're billing from Filevine, pushing invoices to QuickBooks, and trust balance is lower than the invoice. How do we deal with that? So right now we can see I've got a QuickBooks trust balance of $4,000 for this billing client, and I'm going to go ahead and push through an invoice that's a little bit larger. So I'll draft one up. I'll create a time entry here. Time entry saved. We'll put an expense on as well. All right, $5,000 expense. We'll add that to the invoice. Um, Actually, I'll do a smaller number there. So we got a $6,000 invoice there. I'm gonna save this invoice. We'll send it over. We're gonna finalize it. As soon as we finalize invoices, they show up in QuickBooks. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the QuickBooks side here. So in QuickBooks, I'm gonna navigate to my customer list. I'm gonna find this Filevine project here. And sure enough, our $6,000 invoice pushed over. We'll notice it's partially paid. There's another $2,000 remaining. Since we're using auto apply trust, this credit memo transaction for $4,000 was created and applied to this invoice. That means that we used up the remaining amount of the trust. So if trust is lower than our invoice, we zero out trust, the remaining is still outstanding. So we got $2,000 balance. So let's say our client then, we did a retainer refresh, evergreen agreement or whatever. We received an additional deposit into trust, and then we want to make sure we pay off this invoice with the remaining amount. This part's going to be a manual activity in QuickBooks. We're not going to be able to automate, subsequent trust balances applying to invoices. But anyways, this is how we'll do that. So we'll record that next deposit into trust. So we'll do a bank deposit here, deposit into the trust bank account. We're always tagging our Filevine projects here. I'm going to tag my liability account. Again, we're increasing the trust asset. We need to also increase the trust liability to keep these two in balance. Call this a retainer refresh. We'll say this is $5,000. Okay, so the client paid the retainer refresh. They now have a $5,000 balance, but they have a $2,000 billing balance. Just to check here to make sure that $5,000 balance is showing. So sure enough, we got a trust balance for QuickBooks of $5,000 in QuickBooks. Filevine billing still shows the $2,000 outstanding. We're always collecting payment, doing payment activity in QuickBooks. I'm going to go back here, and we are clear to draft a transactions to pay off this invoice. I think the easiest way to do this is to kind of copy the same methodology in the credit memos that are auto applying. So the way these work, if I just look at this one, is the integration drafts a credit memo with a product or service line item called trust balance applied. Yours might be named slightly different, but the general ledger account behind this product or service is the trust liability account. So this transaction credits, actually it debits the trust liability account, decreasing the balance. So we're going to go ahead and draft the same type of transaction. So we'll draft a credit memo. Service date of today. We'll select that trust balance applied or auto apply trust product or service type, and we can call this retainer payment, something like that, whatever's useful for that remaining balance of $2,000. Okay, when I save and close, you notice my total balance goes down to 0, but I do want to apply this as payment. So I'm going to click receive payment on this invoice, and we are simply going to match up the invoice with the credit memo here. And so thus applying it as payment to that invoice. Perfect. Sometimes there's a setting in QuickBooks where you can automatically do that. Mine was not on, so I had to manually apply the payment. When I do that, a couple things happen. In Filevine, if we give this a refresh, we see that payment pushes back over, so we can see that full $6,000 invoice was paid in full with a second transaction in the payments feed here. And if we navigate to our trust account, which I also have it in my vitals here, but we'll notice that balance from QuickBooks is reduced by $2,000, so we're now showing $3,000. Anyways, I hope that was helpful. Thank you.